Glad to have you back. It's now time to take a look at the stories on the front pages of the newspapers, and we'll be doing the review ourselves this time.
Yeah, exactly. Just something for a change.
Yes.
We'll be expecting Dotun to join us as we get along.
All right. So we start with the Punch newspaper. The major story on the front page is excuse me, Taraba Middle Belt groups reject Army panel report on Danjuma's allegation, say Army can't be judged in its own case. So, of course, this is coming on the backdrop of the committee set up by the Army that they are not culpable in any way in the killings in the Middle Belt.
Well, the point there is a lot of people found, holes in the resolution or conclusion of the panel of investigation by the Army, because some person, when the report came out yesterday, an analyst was saying, what did you expect? Because the point there is, when it comes to the integrity of the Army, the confidence in the Army, these are some of the Army would not come out to indict itself.
Absolutely.
So that's the thing. But he's always said that General Tiwa Danjuma, he is a responsible and respected
former Minister
of Defense and former Chief of Army Staff. Someone who understands this country. He won't just make flippant statements. That's what people said. Certainly, as an elder statesman, if he's making that kind of statement, he knows the implications. So he's saying it. But however, in all of those, I think it has to do with the general, in as much as we try to make the people still have confidence in the institutions, where there is any a mistake of any kind, where anyone is found culpable, they should own up.
Absolutely, and that is what seems not to be the case in Nigeria most of the time. When institutions seem to make mistake, what they usually do, according to many Nigerians, is to just deny it and say that they are not responsible for such a mistake. So we'll look at another story. Buhari will receive past 2018 budget this week. That's according to the House of Representatives. They're already delayed anyway. The promise is that they will commute it to the presidency for
it has been
assent.
Increased by about 500 billion
and
naira.
1 billion naira, yes.
And we wait to see how the president is going to, react to it. The point there is, if he's going to sign it without any issues with the concept of the details, okay, I'm not comfortable with your increase here or the reduction here, we'll get to see.
There are already fears that the president would react first off, but let's see how it goes anyway. All right, another story here. Post-Congress crisis. Katsina APC faction threatens defection. NPDP meets Oyegun, others today. The APC, of course, is trying to mend fences, especially coming from the ultimatum given to the party by the NPDP members.
The fear of so many people seem to be confirmed here. When you get the reports from the state congresses, the ward congress was the first start.
Absolutely.
Where they seem to be crisis in many of the states, and then the state congresses came and it's not different. It's not different. And this is a build-up to the national convention, which is going to be the big one. So everyone is just waiting to see what's going to happen. But they say in politics, 1 day or 1 hour can be...
It's a lifetime.
It's a
lifetime. Things can change quickly.
Anything can change.
And
so
then with this meeting between Oyegun and NPDP members, many wonders really, does it mean that some members of the NPDP came out to say that they were not agreed sometime, they didn't hold water, to placate others?
Well, in fact, the ultimate thing there is, when we had the NPDP, the ACN, the AMPP, the CPC, and the ABGA faction coming together, after about 3 years, one feels that those bodies would have fizzled out into the main APC.
Absolutely.
And still having their, their identities within the APC is really something one shows concern about.
So let's just run through the remaining stories. States, not FG, should tackle flooding. That's according to the minister there. Omishore dumps PDP to contest governorship ticket in SDP. 5 men allegedly rape videotaped teenagers in Ondo. Very sad. And then FG plans to assassinate me. That's Governor Wike of Rivers State talking there.
All right, let's move to the Nation newspaper now. APC and PDP in talks to avert Saraki Dogara others exit. The National Working Committee meeting with Baraje other ex-PDP leaders not to negotiate. Well, All right, we've talked about that. We wait to see how things will turn out from their meeting today. Then corrupt politicians pushing for old order. That's an opinion there.
Indeed.
And Tinubu hails Lagos APC Congress. Owners of the party have spoken. All right. Now, but there's a new dimension to the Congress in Lagos. For the first time, you have a faction coming
Absolutely.
up. You know, to
Absolutely.
so.
Many thought it was not going to
exactly.
happen,
Many thought that is at least not in Lagos, anywhere but not in Lagos. But let's see how things turn out. The CBN. How currency deal with China will boost Nigeria's economy. And they gave some of the gains here, saying bigger export market to China, Naira to appreciate against the US dollar, direct access to foreign exchange, and more Chinese investments in Nigeria, and more jobs as more factories are set up. Now, the point there is when it comes to listing the benefits,
it's easy.
It's quite easy, isn't it?
Very easy.
Because a lot of this we've gotten all these promises before and all of, but other economists will tell you, well, there are fears and there are concerns.
Absolutely.
You know?
Like the common Nigerian saying that when we get to the bridge, we'll cross it. Let's see how it's going to play out.
we hope we get to that bridge. The police arrest 4 kidnapped suspects in Ondo, and 5,000 naira for Kwara poor. Well, 5,000 naira issue is still on. And Ambode, why Lagos is investing in Lekki Free Trade Zone. You can get the details in there. And no 25 million naira gift for Khan, says presidency. And herdsmen kill soldier in Benue. This is quite troubling. It's been going on. It's been going on for some time. Okay, and let's just run through this other one. Federal government in war of words. And May 26th for shifted JAM exam. And Eagles $2.5 million allowance ready. Rates to remain unchanged. Okay, let's have some of the headlines from the nation.
And we go to the Daily Sun. The major story here, Oyegu APC leaders move to appease MPDP, meet aggrieved party members today. And then we go to the top beside the masthead, FG planning to kill me, that's Governor Wike. Rivers governor alleges plot to attack him in public forum. Frivolous allegations fly everywhere now, says presidency. So we come down to the paper. Buhari may not sign 2018 budget over National Assembly hike. Minister, and we're talking about that earlier on that. It's not possible for the president just to assent a signature.
Right.
Ekweremadu governors, Southeast leaders converge on Oka for Igbo summit. And then herdsmen kill 2 soldiers at Benue-Taraba border. And then Senate invasion, Ndume Omagege risk fresh suspension. I thought that was put to bed since it's been established that
exactly
the National Assembly
has no powers to suspend. But anyway, we'll get to see how this drama, because the point there is, if they don't have the powers to suspend, what does the standing rule of the Senate or the National Assembly say? Besides the Constitution, because based on the principles of delegated legislation, the National Assembly, besides the Constitution, has its own guiding principles and house rules.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then we have this standalone picture of a plane that crashed in Havana. The president, Miguel Diaz-Canel, was there yesterday to look at it. Very sad.
It's really sad what happened in Cuba yesterday, and about 110 people lost their lives in there. All right, the New Telegraph now, that's where we go next. 2019, PDP, SDP, ADC, Mole joint presidential candidate. And the presidency, vote for PDP and return to days of corruption. All right. I wonder how Nigerians are going to react to that. And then APC and PDP leaders meet over grievances. Now, how the NPDP is being referred to a group now is what baffles anyone.
The big question, really, like you just said, does it mean that the members of the NPDP never saw themselves as APC members since they joined the party?
No. Okay.
And then what the PDP, the presidency, is saying, first of all, is it even proper to use the position of the presidency to, because they've talked about having an institution first of as a government and then not politicizing it, but using that position now to criticize political parties, making the government seem to be a political, having a leaning, but then they'll tell you anyway.
If that statement was coming from the APC that owns the government, it's different. Instead of the presidency making, because the presidency is the governance part of it now, so it shouldn't be involved in partisan politics in that regard. per se. All right, CBN currency swap to open more export opportunities. It says Nigeria won't be dumping ground for Chinese products and deal to ease forex pressure on the naira. And then you see pictures of governors.
I thought you wasn't going.
Oh, come on. There's no way we can go into this. The point there is...
It's about time.
It's about time, exactly. It's about time. If we were seeing all of this where the governors sit by the roadside to, you know, to serve or sell or, you know, or carry headpans on their head or clear gutters or roast corn. If we see that on a daily basis, if we saw that 2 years ago and 1 year ago, it would have been a big deal. But right now, we see these things now in the election year. I wonder if the people are going to buy this anyway.
But then, you know what they say, for any country that runs, that seems to run politics of poverty, the people could be gullible.
Stomach infrastructure. Okay. Buhari's ministers lose out, organize parallel congresses. Dalong Ogbe shut out, and APC factions emerged in 10 states. Okay. And then Dangote says, I want to be Africa's biggest philanthropist. Isn't he the biggest so far?
Well.
Okay, it is one thing to be the Africa's richest man. Maybe it's another thing to be a philanthropist. Okay.
Yes.
My enemy is plotting to assassinate me. Wike, the governor of River State, saying that. Well, that's from the New Telegraph.
All right, so we go to this day newspaper. The major story: APC leadership and PDP meet today to address grievances, and that story has made it to the front page of all the papers, almost all the papers anyway, today. Now, another story, how to stop delays in corruption trials by NJC committee, the committee set up by the Chief Justice of Nigeria to look into why corruption cases are always delayed. And
in the judiciary.
Absolutely, and they've given their recommendations on how to fast-track these cases for speedy adjudication.
Now, we look forward to these reforms because in the judicial, when the judicial arm is up to its task, to a great extent, it's going to trickle down, it's going to rub off on the other arms of government, one way or the other. So we see a lot of activity going on there from what the CJ, the NJC is doing and the Chief Justice is doing.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
We hope that it turns out well.
Yes, absolutely. And then bandits abduct housewives in Beningwari. It's just sad what is going on there. You know, it's even one of our topics today.
Yeah, we'll be talking about it because people need to have a better understanding of what's going on there, and our guest today certainly will be in a very good position to let us to enlighten Nigerians on what is going on in Beningwari. It never ends. It never ends. They deployed the military, the police SSS, and all of that.
Well, presidency, Buhari is bad business for corrupt politicians, public servants. As the presidency talking there, that is why it seems that almost all these people that are perceived to be corrupt are always against him in public.
Wow, it's okay. Well.
And then, despite last one, before we go to the last paper, despite receding inflation, election spending may compel MPC to hold interest rates. And these are the fears, you know, so many fears on the inflation being stationary or even increasing again.
Exactly.
Because of the election
excess liquidity. Yes. Because the point there is, on one hand, because of the 2015 election, a lot of monies are not going to be going through the banks. The transfers won't be going through the banks anymore at this period of time. Yeah. So since late last year, maybe early this year, from an analyst was saying that monies for next year's election have been withdrawn from the system already. So you're going to see a lot of, if that is what we go by, or if it's anything to go by, then you're going to see exactly a chunk of money leaving the system and going to be in people's boots and people's houses and people's votes, and then you're going to see
flood the public almost at the same time.
Liquidity will be everywhere.
Excess liquidity, like you said earlier, absolutely.
All right, Vanguard newspaper is the last one now that we'll look into. Foreign investors rattle forex market. And external reserves record first decline of $72 million. And import and export weekly turnover drops 3 months low. Okay, one would say, well, the international oil price is increasing.
It's increasing.
We're getting more money one way or the other. But when in an election year, external reserves starts dropping, well,
with crude oil price on the international market increasing.
CBN intervenes with $503 million, and exchange rate fluctuates. Appetite for value stocks drive equities market this week. All right, scores escape death as brave civilians disarm suicide bomber in Yobe State, and that's a suspected suicide bomber there. You can see the picture of it. I think Nigerians are becoming a little more vigilant, going into mosques and going into churches to pray. Everyone has to really be vigilant in there. Anglican Church to federal government tell Nigerians whereabouts of Nnamdi Kanu and parents. And I want to be Africa's biggest philanthropist. Dangote saying that. We've read that before. Some government officials, lawmakers, others working with PDP to dislodge Buhari presidency is saying that. And £1 million scam, 2 Nigerians jailed in the UK. Wow. All right. APC disowns parallel executives in Lagos, Rivers, Delta, Imo, Enugu, and others. That's a fallout of the Congress. Absolutely.
And what does that mean? If you disown the parallel,
but there were parallel Congresses.
And it means that the party is divided.
Obviously, when there's excuse me, when you have parallel, it means there are factions. That's what it means. All right. We get to see how things pan out, because in politics, one day, 1 week, 1 hour,
especially as you inch closer to an election year. All right.
All right, let's take a break now, and then we get into our discussion shortly.